everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be talking all about the CS63 and why it probably still is the best medium in World of Tanks. Now, definitely the Concept 5 is giving this thing a run for its money when it comes to being a pure sniper, but the beautiful thing about the CS63, as you're going to see in the video today, is it isn't just resigning to that kind of like sniper role. This vehicle also has the speed, the aggression, and the upper hull, and sometimes the turret armor to be able to hold out surprisingly against some armor piercing rounds. It's definitely not going to hold out against heat. It's that kind of magical armor that tries to have just enough angling to reach that 70-degree angles. But man, when you can just race it forwards at the start of the battle and completely cripple an enemy tier 10 medium with an 835 ram, and then still have the aggression to be able to push around against an M48, man, this tank's just beautiful. This game is absolute chaos. Absolute chaos. But this is what kind of like, you know, 30 power to weight ratio looks like when you're still kind of like running around in the turbo. Although, to be fair now, I am in the sniper mode. But still in the sniper mode, when you're using a turbo in the slot, you have a lot of horsepower in this vehicle, enough to be able to push that big old American tank up. And that is my kind of start in a battle. 3 frags, of which we've definitely secured a couple of them with 2,700. And man, yeah, getting controlled impact on this vehicle, oh, just quickly before I continue, that's a very sneaky play that I've been using recently. And he's using an HE shell to knock this tree backwards. And then actually allows you to have a bush in a pretty much a hull down position as well. And if that isn't just perfect, I don't know what is. In before Wargaming nerf it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I think it's so obscure that they probably won't. But using this bush here has been really adding to my games recently. You're not going to get away with going out in front of a Borkenkäfer, to all intents and purposes. Has incredible view range with its 420 base, but you can do some really dirty things against medium tanks, or even if the vehicles are slightly further away. Or if you're using, say, like a premium consumable to be able to give yourself that little bit of extra camo rating. But I'm not going to be using any premium consumables in the video today, because you're going to be seeing me playing my CS63 on my Plays for Free account, an account which I only very rarely use premium consumables, usually because I somehow have Clan Wars reward tanks on the free-to-play account that I don't actually have on my main account. Yeah, I do have the 907 on my CS63 from bidding and maneuvers, and I'm hoping that next month I'll also be bidding on another vehicle that I don't have. I think it'll probably be the 116, even though I don't think it's very good, purely so I can have that on my free-to-play account. And I'm going to be getting the Chieftain on my main account instead, which I will hopefully get for free with Invest. And also, just a quick highlight, that is, for Invest and its participation in the Maneuvers clan, Maneuvers campaign as a clan, and that is that we're still looking for 1 or 2 exceptional players who have at least 55% average win rate. Sorry if the requirements are very high, it's just the clan is full and we can't physically take more than 100 members. 40 plus tier 10 tanks, of which hopefully you've got all of the better ones for maneuvers, and also hopefully some maneuvers experience. And you want to be able to join a team and get a vehicle for free. And if you're somebody who's willing to lead a team as well, we already have 7 full teams for maneuvers, so we are looking for expansion, so hopefully have 8, 9 or even 10 teams. If that sounds like you, then check out Invest on the European server. Sorry the requirements are so extreme. They weren't a year ago. It's just the clan's doing well. Top 100 last season in maneuvers and 28 vehicles for free. This season, I'm targeting 50 free vehicles for the clan, so you can save your bonds and spend them on better things. So again, check out either the maneuvers command on my Twitch channel, or alternatively just look for Invest. And make sure you write an application. Don't just apply. Let me know about you in the application process as well. But I digress. Let's focus on the CS63 at hand, even though I'm so excited for maneuvers. And this vehicle, by the way, oh, chef's kiss for maneuvers indeed. Absolute powerhouse, as you would expect. Something that gets forward, something that just rips through your opponents with damage per minute, especially when you're using a bond rammer like I am in this vehicle. And even without the premium consumable advantage. And then look at this, man. you even have enough armor as long as you hide that lower plate and you kind of angle that upper hull, and you can get miracle bounces on the turret. So it kind of just trashes the Leopard, really. Now, there's no doubt that the Leopard 1 has the better gun, but honestly, I think you're definitely pushing it if you say that the Leopard 1 even gets close to the impact that a CS63 can have in the majority of scenarios. This vehicle has definitely the worst gun, but that speed to be able to get into position, combined with that armor that does work, unlike the Leopards, where you're only really bouncing in the Leopard 1 and not the Leopard 120, let me tell you, when you're using your max gun depression and they're ricocheting off the top of the turret. But yeah, the CS63 in this scenario, can you believe how close this game is, even though we're up to blooming 8,400 combined? And I'm just hoping that my friends down towards the southeast in the Hirschkäfer and the Borkenkäfer are going to come in and try and get a few more shells. We had to have such a huge impact, and this is one of those games that 90% of the time it would be a loss unless you do something magnificent. And the CS63 is capable of magnificent gameplay. You know, bombing it in at like 75 kilometers an hour with a turbo. Even faster if you're using the Bond turbo, or if you've got engineer as well on your driver. You could go at 77 in this vehicle around. Race into position faster than pretty much anything else. And if a light tank or another fast medium get there at the same time, you could usually ram them for, as we could see at the start of this game, like a third of the Batchat's health, and then it's just a formality as to who's going to win that initial engagement. And then afterwards, you have the speed to be able to get around, you've got the armor to be able to use, unlike the Leopard, to make some cheeky plays in hold down positions. And again, let me clarify, with the armor on this vehicle, it's not perfect. When you're shooting at its turret like this, as I do, I don't know, YMCA or something, basically the top part here with AP is like really weak, but it's not weak, sorry, quite strong. But the cheeks here and the cheeks here, and even kind of like the mantlet area, not great on this vehicle. And if you are fighting a CS63 and it is in a cheeky hold down position, yeah, heat can really increase your chances of being able to catch it. Can I just say how much I hate when Wargaming add vehicles into the game that have aerials on them? Because Wargaming still don't place the marker in a correct position. For some reason, Wargaming still keep making this mistake. Somebody who's placing the markers thinks that the height of the vehicle is actually with the aerial as well, and so it puts the marker ridiculously high. And so I have a hard time being able to feather out where a vehicle like the Hirschkäfer is, because you still can't gauge it, because the marker is ridiculously high on the vehicle because of the incorrect aerial placement. So if anyone from Wargaming is listening, please, 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 please do something about that. It's definitely one of the most frustrating things ever, driving me balmy about how much higher some of those icons are. Although I can't really blame how high that icon is. It's pretty much up in the sky there because of the aerial, I believe, on the Hirschkäfer. But luckily, we've got the rate of fire, so we catch the second shell. And I might even be able to find their tracks again, but I don't need to, because the 268 version 4 finishes them off, giving us a lovely 1,100 combined extra assistance against the Hirschkäfer there. And now, with a Leopard 1 and a UDES, just to be able to mop out this game, with our 10,000 combined, it's starting to look a little bit more secure. Probably should have caught a shot there, but you know, as I said, without the vents, without that premium consumable, man, does that aim time feel a little bit long. Especially because on this vehicle, with the ultimate field mod on this tank, of course I'm increasing the engine power and not improving the aim time on this tank. So this was the CS63 in its environment, using its speed to dominate the battle right from the beginning, and also having the statistics to be able to catch it all the way through the end. But the strength of this vehicle isn't just being like that powerhouse to take the most important locations and dominate the game. It's also a very proficient and dangerous scout. So last game, you saw me play the tank in the powerhouse mode. I'll play that on the majority of maps. However, for where there are a lot of bushes and vision is of key importance, I'm going to drop the turbo, I'm going to drop the gun rammer, and I'm actually going to be taking vents as well on this vehicle instead of the durability. And I'm going to be using a vision system exhaust. And this is so I can get forwards and be a very proficient scout indeed. And the thing is that I can get into position as quick as the enemy light tanks. But man, I've got more hit points than them. Not so much more this patch. This patch, they have upped the hit points on light tanks across the board, which I think is a good change. But you're still more dangerous. You got the armor, often you have the DPM, you often have the alpha damage, you have all of these advantages that light tanks simply don't. And then we've already got rid of the RHM out of their position. We're pushing the Borkenkäfer out of their position. And man, to say how much of an impact I have had right at the start of this battle really can't be overstated. If you're able to get rid of an entire tier 11 light tank and pretty much cripple the enemy's other tier 10 light tank on Muravanka, it gives your team such a tremendous advantage indeed. And so that's just going to allow the Manticore on our team to have probably one of the easiest games of their life, right? Surely it should just be like a formality now for the Manticore. Although I don't really understand why that Manticore is just blazing away. Unfortunately, the RHM, I should have focused that RHM for sure. But luckily for me, the Borkenkäfer on our team finishes off the RHM, and now we can go back to shooting the Jagdpanzer 100. And one thing that's quite interesting about this build is you think, oh, it doesn't really look like the combat build on the previous one. And yeah, you're right. But from like a sniping perspective now, we've actually got the better accuracy from the vents. So for these long-range engagements, which let's be honest, the vision system build is probably going to be used for. You know, your Malinovkas, your Prokhorovkas, your Muravankas, your Redshires, apart from that horrible new event that Wargaming have on the Redshire map, which basically renders Redshire less about being the sniper fight. This build will actually be more proficient with better aim time, better accuracy. Of course, you just don't have that rate of fire. But quite often in this battle, as you're going to see, it's not so much about the rate of fire, it's about the finesse, which is why I really like a build like this. Now, on the other hand, you could drop the vents and use a coated optics, which would really make you that power scout. But I find like in a medium tank, it's not so much about being the ultimate scout. It's more about trying to position yourself to still have good view range, but having still that combat capacity as well. Which is why I will like the vents on this build over the coated optics, just for my personal preference, because I want to have some firepower as well, but be able to have that exhaust to keep myself a little bit safe while still having enough view range to be able to dig my opponents out of their positions. So we're going to slip our way through a very dangerous situation here of having 3 tank destroyers in a bit of a sandwich. A bit of a risk here firing, and I don't know where that shell went. Maybe that means there's another tank there, or maybe my shell just went in between that big turret and that hull. And we're going to keep the bushes between us and the FE4005. And now, oh yeah, baby. That's it. Getting vision. Oh, that shot, that wasn't World of Tanks. And oh gosh, being spotted as well. Absolute disaster. But I'm feeling quite safe. I don't think the Jaegerus are going to turn. And if they do, then I've got a nice little ridgeline to be able to fall behind. And so they're going to turn their attention, you know, these big lumbering German beasts, to other vehicles as well. So far, a good result with the vision system there with 3000 spotting, but we're still able to just pump out this damage as well, as you'd expect for a vehicle that has great damage per minute and a good sniping capacity. I'd never say that this is the best of guns, but it's still kind of like an 8 out of 10 gun for a tier 10 medium. But when you can have an 8 out of 10 gun, but have 11 out of 10 mobility, oh, QB, the skill doesn't go that, okay, 10 out of 10 mobility, as well as also still having kind of like about 6 out of 10 armor, maybe 7 out of 10, no, 6 out of 10 armor. All of these things add up to allowing you to do things that other tier 10 medium tanks just can't do as well. And if you want to be the best at something, you know, that's what you need to do. You need to do something better than all of your other peers. And that is exactly what the CS63 does. And why still it's just this absolute golden child of World of Tanks for wanting to have this all-round capacity at a tier 10 medium. Now, I haven't done my full Szakal tank review yet. It will be coming. I do have enough footage. I'm just taking my time with the tank reviews, making sure that I really get to grips with them and have kind of like a final opinion on them. But I can tell you that the Szakal it's not too bad. It's not too bad. it's pretty good. It's probably one of the better tier 11 mediums. But one thing I will say is that Object 140 is definitely trying to annoy me here. But I digress. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But don't sell your CS63 when you get your Szakal. I think the Szakal is probably just worse tier for tier, but still a good tier 11. But undoubtedly, you need this tank if you want to. Well, you don't need it, but it's a definite great vehicle for some maps still. For maneuvers, well, and it not so much maneuvers, but also onslaught as well. You want to have this vehicle for onslaught so you can pick it for those maps where it's really about taking aggressive positions if your team wants to go all in on mines, or alternatively want to contest some of the early locations on maps such as El Haluf. Alright, tricky situation here. We're down 2,000 hit points, but with that shot on the IS-7 and a shot from the 140 as well, with that new increased 340 alpha damage rolling slightly high there, there's a tiny chance we can come back into this. And it's all going to come down to shots like this. Jaegeru down, vision system exhaust allowing me to stay hidden. And I just got to hope that that 140, who's still on half of their hit points, can keep attention. I'm spotting these heavies as they trundle in. I'm hoping that the 140 is going to be able to keep shooting them. I'm asking for help here, but there's no way that the 140 can really shoot that KL-1 until he crests the ridge. And there we go. Good shot. Nice bit of spotting. Fall back behind the bush to shoot through the bush to not be spotted. Use that camo and be sneaky here with that vision system exhaust. And I think that I would have probably already been spotted if I didn't have it. Although, you know, I might have been able to get away with it. And now, unfortunately for us, the KL-1 is just progressing towards the 140. They get hit, and I'm just praying that the 140 shoots the can opener. And even though I don't get spotted there by using those bushes very sneakily, I don't think it's going to matter. I'm going to enter the speed mode here, fire, and then I was going to try and use the speed mode to race around the side of the can opener to avoid his turret traverse. Alas, it wasn't to be. And 12,000 combined, guys. Free to play with no premium consumables. Not enough to win this one. And do you know what the most annoying thing about this round is? Is that I truly feel that if I had the premium consumable, and I had that 5% rate of fire, I had that 5% accuracy, I had that 5% aim time, I had that 5% view range, that maybe I would have got through this one. And it is by far the most annoying thing playing for free in World of Tanks, that you just feel that you're leaving a little bit of your tank in the garage if you don't take that premium food consumable, because fires just don't really seem to matter nearly so much in the game now. Just take the fire extinguishing skill on your radio operator and you pretty much only take half a shot worth of damage. It's pretty much irrelevant in that 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 games where hopefully it only happens unless you're getting unlucky. And yeah, by far my most annoying thing about playing for free is that complete lack of premium consumable. And it really does. It undoubtedly puts you down a notch as a player. Having that 5% advantage across the board is irreplaceable. It truly is. And I can't help but think that maybe this would have been one of my best CS63 games of all time if only I'd had that little extra. But alas, my first ace tanker on the free-to-play account in the CS63 as a consolation prize, it'll have to do. Again, that 12k combo, 857 base, and if you're wondering how that's an ace tanker, it's because you've got to factor in courageous resistance as well. This would be 1,285 base if we were taking into account that it would have been a victory, which was enough. And the second game on Runeberg as well. Wonderful game, 10,500 combined, just pumping out that damage with 1,482 base. And because, you know, we were playing for free, not spamming too much gold, although on Muravanka, we definitely started to dip our toes into the pay-to-win bath there a little bit. We still make a profit in both of those games. So the CS63, there's a reason why this thing has been top of the food chain for medium tanks in World of Tanks for a very long time. And even with the addition of the tier 11s, I think this one still feels like it is an absolute king of the battlefield. And if you don't have one of these yet, you really should. They're not going to be the best for players who don't want to play offensively, who aren't willing to take risks, who aren't wanting to contest early positions, or alternatively for players who don't have a good gauge of light tank gameplay when they want to set it up a little bit sneaky as well. But if you're an above average player and you haven't played the CS63, you really owe it to yourself to get one of these. if not just for the fact that they're amazing in the competitive versions of the game. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it. 2 massive games on the free-to-play account without premium consumables. Really hope you enjoyed them. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know if you think a vehicle like the Concept 5 is now outperforming the CS63. And what do you think about CS63 versus Leopard 1 as well? Are you firmly in the CS63 court like I am? Or do you think the Leopard 1, with its gun finesse, actually outperforms the other metrics in the CS63? And if you're watching this video as it's released on Friday, I've got 2 sets of new drops available today. You can get yourself a 2D style Iron Jack, some boosters, and also as a slight reward for being back from TwitchCon, I've got exclusive drops as well with the other creators who were at TwitchCon, where you can get an additional 2D style, the Boo style, some premium consumables, and some more boosters as well. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby, where I'm going to try and get myself the hacker on my main account today. So that one could be fun. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.